What's going on? Riley here, and today we are going to be taking a tour of my newly organized comic library. So stay tuned. It's been a minute since I made a typical upload, so I figured that starting to dip my toes back into getting on my regular schedule, I would go ahead and do the, for some people, long-awaited new tour of my comic library, and then a couple of haul videos to show what I've been picking up the past couple months, and then we'll get back into business as usual. So people who've been following my channel might remember that a few months ago I moved all of my manga out into this new area. So now things are not in the cramped little room that they used to be in. My previous manga tour was actually me showing that part of the library after I had moved it. And initially, I had planned on moving all of the comics as well, Marvel, DC, all that stuff, pretty much right after, but a couple things happened that stopped me. Number one, I hurt my arm and I wasn't able to do any heavy lifting. I was able to get that fixed by going to a chiropractor, so no worries there. That's all fixed now. And number two, I wasn't able to take off some time from work until more recently when I basically forced myself and I was like, all right, let's go ahead and get this done. So I was able to move all of my comics into this area and I am so excited about how it looks. If you've been following me recently on TikTok, you've probably seen basic glances at what this is, but this is going to be a full tour of the comics library. I'm not planning on showing the manga library in depth because I already did that one after when I first moved it, but I'll just show what shelves are out here. And if people want a more in-depth look at my manga library as it is now, let me know in the comments and then I can make a subsequent video, a follow-up to this one that focuses on my manga. Now I will say a couple things ahead of time. This is not a video for me to go in depth about every book that I own, so don't expect for me to stop with every single series and talk about it. This is just for me to show the library, show what's in here, give you guys a look at it, because I'm really excited about how it turned out. So without further ado, let's get started. We're gonna start with one of my shelves that's in the corner over there, and we're gonna just work around the room. So let me mention first that I don't always have the blinds open like this, but I'm letting in light for the sake of this video, so don't worry. I know I don't want to cause sun damage and yellowing to my books. I'm a veteran, if you will, in the book collecting in the library game. But anyway, so this first shelf, this is where I've been keeping all of my larger books. The books, most of these are larger trim size than omnibus editions and oversized hardcovers, which if you know my library, you know that's the majority of what I like to collect is that format. So let's look at the top here. And I'm going to mention this is the only shelf that I do have plans to reinforce. It is fastened to the wall so it doesn't fall forward, but I do need to reinforce the individual shelves because these, of course, are some of the bigger, heavier books that I have. So at the top there, let's just do a little bit of a zoom. We've got the absolute editions of Preacher and Transmetropolitan, and then I have the Watchmen coffee table book, Watching the Watchmen, and a few gallery edition books from Marvel. And then after that starts the beginning of my BPRD Magnolia Universe hardcovers and stuff. Those are the only like standard size hardcovers I have, and I have those here because I wanted to have them next to my Hellboy books. And next to Hellboy is the beginning of my Aliens stuff. This is, you know, at this point mostly Dark Horse material. Next shelf, a little bit more of the Aliens material. We've got the Black Hammer books and the World of Black Hammer library editions. And then the Buffy the Vampire Slayer library editions from Dark Horse, as well as the ones from Boom. And then we have Angel and Faith and Angel Season 11 from Boom. Next to that, you can see peeking out of the corner is the first library edition of The Goon. The next four are down here, followed by Harrow County. And then we've got Lady Killer by Joelle Jones, The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys, and the 3 Umbrella Academy hardcovers. And then following those Dark Horse library editions are my Rick Remender oversized hardcovers, Black Science, Crawl Space, Deadly Class, Fear Agent, Low, and then at the bottom down here, the last shelf, we've got Gigantic and Tokyo Ghost at the end. And I've got the Death or Glory hardcover on the way in transit right now. Next to that, we've got some Frank Miller books. We've got, of course, Big Damn Sin City. Next to that, you can kind of see Big Guy and Rusty the Boy Robot sticking out, and between those two is Hard Boiled. Next to those are a few of the Dark Horse video game books, Final Fantasy, Mario, and Zelda. There are more of those that I'd like to get, just haven't added them to the collection. Then we've got Lost Girls, The Fifth Beatle, Invader Zim, Kaiju Max, Maximum Minimum Wage. Hiding behind Maximum Minimum Wage is the large hardcover for Jason Aaron's The Goddamned. Then we have Gail Simone's Red Sonja. Next to that, and hiding behind Crimson, is the Peter Cannon Thunderbolt hardcover. Then we've got the two hardcovers for 300 and Xerxes, and the Inkle, the Metabarons, and the Bouncer. And that's the end of this first shelf. Now we're moving to this next shelf, and this one's a little bit more of an awkward angle because I have this is kind of set up like an aisle, and I'll show what I mean in just a second. But this is a lot of stuff from other publishers. So at the top of this shelf, most of that you can see is from Valiant. I don't have every Valiant hardcover, but I do have most of them. And next to Valiant, we do have Incognito, Matrix, and a few books from TKO. And that next shelf down, more of my Valiant books and oversized hardcovers from Image. And then the next shelf down from that concludes my Image oversized hardcovers, and we go in some Image hardcovers and paperbacks, and then the beginning of my Boom section. Move the camera so you can see a little bit better, but in the Boom section, we've got the Amory Wars hardcovers, the Klaus hardcovers, and then moving down to the next shelf, we've got the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger hardcovers. Next to that is my section of Godzilla comics. That's the Marvel book, followed by Dark Horse books, followed by the IDW books, and that leads into my IDW section, which has Godzilla, Lock and Key, The One. We've got all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles hardcovers right there, and that goes then into my Dynamite section. Got James Bond, The Boys, volumes 1, 2, and 3. I've adjusted the camera again so we can see the rest of The Boys, and then Mars Attacks and Centipede make up the rest of the Dynamite section, and then it goes into Dark Horse. We've got Concrete, Martha Washington, The Mask, Milk and Cheese, Berserker, Department H, and Mind Management. And there's the Perry Bible Fellowship Almanac, Sullivan's Sluggers, Beasts of Burden, the Eltingville Club, Too Much Coffee Man, and then next to that are Snowpiercer hardcovers and Zenith. And now at the bottom of this shelf is basically various collections from other publishers. The biggest section here is the Scott Pilgrim section, and that is also next to Brian Lee O'Malley's Seconds. And then there's a few other collections here of like strip comics at the side there. And that wraps up this shelf. And then this is what I meant when I said that it was kind of an aisle in between the shelves. This is the shelf we were just looking at, and these are a lot of my manga shelves. So I didn't have a lot of room to like fit the camera in there and get a great angle. So that's what I meant when I said that there's an aisle right there. Now let's move over to the main section of my Western comics, and that's going to be the Marvel and DC stuff. Alright, so now let's take a look at the X-Men shelf. This is the first of my 3 Marvel shelves, all made up of X-Men comics, paperbacks, and mostly omnibus and hardcover editions. There are some custom bound ones in there as well. Let's go back to the top, and I'll zoom in so we can see what's up there. I'm not going to say every single book, but starting out alphabetically, you can see I've run out of room, and I've got some solutions that I'm going to utilize in the near future, but for now you can see that my shelves are kind of crowded. But at the top there, it goes in alphabetical order, starting with Alpha Flight and Amazing X-Men, and then it goes into Astonishing. We've got all the different characters like Cable and Excalibur, Gambit, Generation Hope, Magneto, Mystique, Mutant X, New Mutants, New X-Men, more New Mutants, Nyx, and then the Wolverine paperback section. This is not everything available for Wolverine in paperback, but I've got most of the stuff that's not in hardcover editions, not in omnibus editions, and that goes to the next shelf with more paperback editions. The stuff on the top is more Wolverine Rot, the Wolverine by Paul Cornell material, and then the second stack over there is the Death of Wolverine and the Death of Wolverine Companion. Then we've got some X-23 stuff, X Factor, X Force, and then a bunch of chronological mainline X-Men books, Road to Onslaught, Onslaught Aftermath, Trial of Gambit, the stuff that's not in oversized hardcovers, and that goes into Legacy and Adjectiveless X-Men, which then goes into Extreme X-Men, and then a bunch of other X-Men books that don't belong to larger series or anything like that. And then it goes into the oversized hardcovers and omnibus editions, starting with Alpha Flight. So we have not just X-Men books, but related to the X-Men books on here. So Alpha Flight, and then Cable, Soldier X, and then going down to the next shelf. Most of this is Deadpool. So you have the Joe Kelly, the classic Deadpool and Cable, Dan Way, Deadpool and Company, Deadpool by Brian Posehn and Jerry Dugan, and all the Jerry Dugan hardcovers that followed, and the 4 Deadpool minibus. We've got Excalibur and New Mutants, very excited about the Volume 2s for that, and the Volume 2 for Wolverine for that matter. Then on the next shelf down, we're continuing with Weapon X and then other Wolverine-related books, other Wolverine Omnis, and oversized hardcovers. There's a custom-bound set of X Factor, and then some X-Force books, X-Statics, X-Force by Kyle and Yost, Uncanny X-Force, which leads into Uncanny Avengers and leads into Axis. And we've got the X-Men Volume 2. Volume 1 is finally getting reprinted, so I'm happy to be able to add that into my collection at long last. And then we've got the omnibus editions for the Chris Claremont run, so Volumes 1 through 4, X-Men Classic, Mutant Massacre, Follow the Mutants, Asgardian Wars, Inferno Prologue, Inferno, and then X-Men Volumes 1 and 2 by Claremont and Lee. Just shifted the camera a little bit so we can get a better look at the hardcovers. Basically all the oversized hardcovers making up like the 90s X-Men era. Main stuff in here being like Age of Apocalypse and Onslaught. You can see that that leads into the end of that era, into the 2000s, with the New X-Men by Grant Morrison. And then at the bottom shelf of the X-Men bookcase, we've got Astonishing X-Men, X-Men Legacy, some more of the custom hardcovers and stuff. Just a lot of the oversized event hardcovers of that era of the X-Men, the 2000s, and then the 2010 stuff by Bendis. And then we've got the Legion Omnibus, House of X, Powers of X, X of Swords, and then at the very end, X-Men Grand Design. And that's the X-Men shelf. All right, and then these next 2 bookcases, this is the rest of my Marvel collection. Just stuff that's everything but the X-Men, basically. That goes all the way down to there. So we'll take a look at these. People who've been following my channel for a while are going to notice there's some stuff that used to be in here that's not in here now. Some of it I've just sold, and some of it is sitting elsewhere. Because at this moment, I don't have room for every single book to sit on my shelves, so I have to move some things around and keep them elsewhere. But I will talk about that and show those things in a minute, and then also talk about my plan for expansion whenever I do need to do so. So on this top shelf, we've got some oversized hardcover and omnibus that are not mainline Marvel stuff. So there's the new Aliens omnibus, Conan. That's the only Conan the Barbarian that I have. I'm not terribly interested in the classic stuff, so I just have the Kurt Busiek run. Crime Noir, Empire of the Dead, Muppets, Powers, and the 12, and then that leads into most of the paperbacks that I have up right now. So we got some of the highlights being there's some Avengers stuff, Avengers Arena, Secret Avengers, a bunch of Black Panther, a bunch of Black Widow, some Immortal Iron Fist, and then the second shelf over there we have stuff like, let me lean over a little bit and show the Loki Agent of Asgard Complete Collection, Jessica Jones Pulse, some Thanos, some Thor, and then a bunch of Thunderbolts material up there, and a bunch of Venom as well, and then that leads into my Ultimates books. I have the Ultimates, the Ultimate Comics Avengers, Ultimate Fantastic Four Volume 1, and then all of Ultimate Spider-Man, the Omnibus, and the 12, or not 12 hardcovers. I have hardcovers Volumes 4 through 12 to wrap that up, and that leads into the Ultimate Spider-Man Death of Spider-Man Omnibus, Miles Morales Ultimate Spider-Man, and Spider-Man Miles Morales Omnis, and then that goes into my Cosmic shelf. We've got all the omnibus editions of the main cosmic events. the Thanos Wars Infinity Origin, the Infinity Trilogy, the Annihilation Conquest, and then the War of Kings trilogy, followed by Thanos Infinity Saga, Infinity Wars, and Cosmic Universe by Donny Cates, which is followed by Alias. The next shelf over, starts the Avengers, the 2 volumes by Kurt Busiek, New Avengers by Bendis, Secret Invasion also by Bendis, Dark Avengers, Rage of Ultron. And then I put S.H.I.E.L.D. by Hickman right there because it's part of Hickman's greater run, so I just decided to stick it there. Avengers by Hickman 1 and 2, and that's followed by Secret Wars, also put it there because it's Hickman. Young Avengers Children's Crusade, and Young Avengers by Gillen, followed by Captain America by Wade, and the 5 Captain America Brubaker Omnis, and that's followed by Daredevil by Miller, and the Daredevil by Miller companion book. The next shelf starts with some more Daredevil material. We start out with the Marvel Knights Omnibus, then goes into Bendis, Brubaker, Shadowland, Mark Waid, and I will be getting that Charles Soule book as well. We got a few Doctor Strange books, Earth X Trilogy, and then Fantastic Four Volumes 1, 2, and 3 by Kirby and Lee, and then Fantastic Four by Byrne 1 and 2, Fantastic Four by Wade and Waringo, and then on the next shelf over, you can see that starts with the Fantastic Four by Hickman, Fraction, and then Ghost Rider, Guardians of the Galaxy, Classic Solo, Jim Valentino, Bendis, and Jerry Dugan, followed by some Hawkeye, some Heroes Reborn, and The Return, Howard the Duck, and then the beginning of my Hulk section of my library. And Hulk is one of my favorite characters, so I have his paperbacks integrated with the hardcovers. We've got starting out the Hulk by Peter David stuff, and then that leads into all of subsequent material. The 3rd volume is currently in transit, excited to have that, and then the 4th volume would, of course, wrap up that run. And we've got the next shelf, mostly Hulk and Hulk-related stuff, so continuing through, going through Pack's run, the Loeb McGuinness run, Pack's first return, and then the, we've got Jason Aaron's run, Mark Waid's run, Mark Waid and Jerry Dugan's run, Savage Hulk, some of the Secret Wars Hulk stuff is shoved in there somewhere, Totally Awesome Hulk when Pack came back again, and then Immortal Hulk. I don't have that 3rd oversized hardcover at this time. And then we go into She-Hulk, the 2 omnibus, as well as several paperbacks, basically as much She-Hulk material as I could get. I just don't have the classic run, the first She-Hulk run. And then we've got Scar, Son of Hulk, the Red Hulk material, which is some of my favorite and what I think is some of the most underrated Marvel stuff. And another extremely underrated Marvel series is The Incredible Hercules, and that's on this shelf as well. And that leads us into the Inhumans, which goes into the next shelf. We've got some more Inhumans books over there. Black Bolt, Invaders, Iron Man, just a few omnibus editions of Iron Man, Marvel Legacy, Man-Thing, Marvel Zombies, Marvel's Project, Moon Knight, a few books of Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, Namor, Original Sin, Power Pack, and the beginning of my Punisher books. More Punisher books, Secret Wars 2, Secret Warriors, Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu, and Deadly Hands of Kung Fu, Silver Surfer, and the beginning of my Spider-Man section, another favorite of mine. So Spider-Man also has his hardcovers and paperbacks integrated. So you see Amazing Spider-Man 1 through 4, Roger Stern, and then several of the paperbacks going forth into Kraven's Last Hunt and the McFarlane run, and then the Michelini-Larson run. More paperbacks, Spider-Man vs. Venom, and then that leads to the Clone Saga and the Ben Reilly Saga. And dropping down at the bottom here, we have some more paperbacks, the John Byrne run, the JMS run, Brand New Day era, the Gauntlet, Big Time era, Superior Spider-Man, and Amazing Spider-Man, both of the Amazing series by Slott, and then the next shelf over, some Spider-Man spin-off stuff, Venom, Carnage, Superior Foes. We've got Mighty Thor, Thor Heroes Return, Thor by JMS, Loki. I do not currently have any of the Aaron stuff because I am 100% positive that we will be getting probably a 3-volume set of Jason Aaron's Thor across omnibus editions. So, preemptively, I have sold those off to get ready for that. We have Thunderbolts, Vision, War of the Realms, and Marvel ends on Werewolf by Night. And I'll just give a quick look in this closet, which is where I keep a lot of my Marvel paperbacks. I have a lot of Marvel paperbacks. You can see a lot of epic collections. There's like Daredevil and Captain America, and those just at the current time do not fit on the shelves. And then below that, behind those manga, it's once again some stuff that doesn't fit on the shelves or I might be selling soon. There's more paperbacks back there. We've got a bunch of Iron Man, there's a bunch of Punisher, and then one more row of paperbacks in the back. So that's where a lot of my paperbacks have gone. If people who've been around the channel for a while are wondering, they are sitting in here kind of in storage. And before I forget, here's the Star Wars shelf. We've just got the Marvel oversized hardcover editions, basically. I believe I have all of the oversized hardcovers of the Marvel material. The only things that I know I'm missing are like the UK Omnibus and the Ewoks Droids Omnibus, but everything else I should have. And I don't have any of the Dark Horse era stuff because I'm planning on picking up the Omnibus editions of those. Now let's move on over into my DC stuff here. So this first shelf of DC stuff, we have the Bat manga sitting next to Swamp Thing, and then a bunch of events. Not every DC event, omnibus or oversized hardcover, but just a lot of the ones that I wanted or I like. So we see that going from Crisis on Infinite Earths over to Heroes in Crisis, the standard hardcover. And then next to that starts over some paperbacks with Batgirl, Robin Year One, some Batgirl, some Catwoman, Demon Knights, Frankenstein, Flash, iVampire, a little bit of Justice League, Nightwing, Question, and the Secret Six. And on the next shelf, we get the Starman Omnibus hardcovers, Suicide Squad by John Ostrander, a little bit of Superboy, a little bit of Superman, the Earth 1 hardcovers, and then starts up my Batman section. I do have significantly less Superman stuff than I think was on my last video, and that's because I've planned on purchasing the oversized hardcover editions of a lot of my favorite Superman stories. I just haven't gotten around to doing that yet, so eventually that section will be rounded out. So we have the Batman section starts off with some stuff that's not in continuity, like Damned, Joker, 66, Black and White, and the Loeb and Sale Omnibus, as well as Gotham by Gaslight, and then that goes into the Frank Miller material, and then the Batman 1989 movie adaptation. And then this goes into a few oversized hardcovers of post-crisis Batman, and these are arranged. The hardcovers themselves are arranged chronologically by story, so that's why we have Year One and then Year Two, and then that goes into The Man Who Laughs, and then the next one would be A Death in the Family, and then hiding in the corner is the oversized hardcover for the Demon trilogy. And then the next shelf over goes into Killing Joke, Arkham Asylum, and Gothic, and then we start with some paperbacks as well. I have my Batman paperbacks integrated with the hardcovers, and my Batman collection starts with post-Crisis because that's where my interest kind of begins with the character. I've decided that I'll stick with Batman after Crisis on Infinite Earths, and then if I feel later like going backwards, then I can always do that later. But we've got the Second Chances paperback, the Cape Crusader, and Dark Knight Detective paperbacks. We've got, what is it, the next volume of Dark Knight Detective, I think, just came out. That one's in the mail right now, coming in. Shaman, Prey, the Nightfall trilogy, Contagion, Zero Hour, Legacy, Night Out, Munch and Jones, Road to No Man's Land, New Gotham, some of the other books, Murderer and Fugitive, Hush, the Brian Azzarello book, As the Crow Flies, Living Hell, War Games, Under the Red Hood Lost Days, City of Crime, Face the Face, Whatever Happened to the Caped Crusader, which I know that technically could go between volumes 1 and 2 of Grant Morrison's run, but I preferred to not shove that in between volumes of a run. The Batman by Dinny Omnibus, that one is more recent and is absolutely fantastic. All 3 volumes of Morrison's run. And the next shelf has a lot more Batman material. This is getting into the New 52, starting off with a little bit of pre-New 52 with like Tony Daniels stuff, Judd Winnick's stuff, the Battle for the Cowl and Resurrection of Ra's al Ghul. Then we have the New 52 Detective Comics run, New 52 Batman and Robin, New 52 Batman the Dark Knight, Black Mirror and Gates of Gotham, which led into the Scott Snyder run. It's the first omnibus, the second omnibus finally on the way. We got Eternal, All-Star Batman by Scott Snyder, and Batman Who Laughs by Snyder as well. And we've got the Manipul and Buccellato hardcover, Batman, The Flash, The Button, and then the 5 Rebirth hardcovers. And then we've got the Rise and Fall of the Batman Omnibus. That was a fantastic run from Rebirth. Then Detective Comics number 1000 Deluxe Edition. I need to get that Detective Comics 1027 Deluxe Edition as well. I actually preferred 1027 much over 1000. And that goes into my alphabetical stuff. The rest of this is mostly omnibus editions, but I've integrated paperbacks like for Animal Man because he is my favorite character of all time. So I wanted to integrate all those paperbacks in there chronologically. And then we go over to a few books with Aquaman, Batgirl, DC New Frontier, Dial H, Doom Patrol, The Flash. Still need that second Jeff Johns omnibus. Fourth World by Jack Kirby, Gotham Central, Grayson, a few Green Arrow books, Green Lantern, and there's Green Lanterns 2 and 3 by Johns. Hawkman, Injustice, Justice League International 1 and 2, a third volume will wrap that up real nicely. Morrison's JLA, Johns JSA, and then in the corner next to Johns JSA is the Brad Meltzer Justice League. Johns Darkseid War Omnibus, Justice, Kingdom Come, Mr. Miracle, Nightwing, Orion, Plastic Man, Seven Soldiers, Solo, Super Sons, Superman, Batman, Superman Unchained, Superman Morrison, Swamp Thing. This is another integrated paperbacks and hardcovers and stuff together because Swamp Thing is another one of my favorite characters. So I have basically as much Swamp Thing collected as you can have. I opted to keep the regular hardcovers instead of the Absolute editions of Alan Moore's Swamp Thing because I greatly prefer the colors on the original editions. We also have the Bronze Age, the Nancy Collins Omnibus, the Mark Miller run, the Rick Veitch run, the Brian K. Vaughan run, the Dissart and Diggle material from Vertigo, and the New 52 run, and then the few volumes of material that followed the New 52. And that goes into the New Teen Titans, volumes 1 through 4, and volume 5 is down in the corner over there, sitting next to the Jeff Johns Teen Titans Omnibus. 3 volumes of Wonder Woman by George Perez, Wonder Woman by Gail Simone, Wonder Woman by Brian Azzarello. The Authority starts the non-DC Universe DC books that are also not part of Vertigo. So we have Authority, Global Frequency, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe Omnibus, Planetary before Watchmen, Watchmen and the Watchmen Companion, and then hiding next to the Watchmen Companion are a few paperbacks. We've got Ronin, Space Ghost, Thunder Agents by Nick Spencer, and Zombie, and then next to that starts the Hanna-Barbera books. I do have the entire line of Hanna-Barbera titles that DC put out several years ago. That included stuff like Mark Russell's Exit Stage Left and the Flintstones, and the Scooby Apocalypse series. A lot of fun titles came out of that. I really liked that idea. And then we move over to Young Animal. That's what that brick of white with colors on it is. All the Young Animal books. Just need to get the Far Sector book whenever that comes out, and then that leads into my Vertigo stuff. So there's a few paperbacks, and then it goes into that giant block of Hellblazer material, and then a lot of other Vertigo stuff like The Losers, Northlanders, Unknown Soldier, and then we go into the Vertigo oversized hardcovers, 100 Bullets, and then down at the bottom over here, we've got American Vampire, Books of Magic, Day Tripper, DMZ, Ex Machina, Fables, The Filth, and Hellblazer. And then next to that, House of Secrets, The Invisibles, iZombie, Joe the Barbarian, Kid Eternity, V-Manorama and Kill Your Boyfriend, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, both the Jubilee edition as well as the hardcovers of Part 3 and 4, Lucifer, Omnibus 1 and 2, Ocean Orbiter, Promethea Deluxe Editions, the 3 Sandman Omnibus Editions, Scalped, oversized hardcovers, Sheriff of Babylon, Sleeper, Sweet Tooth 1 through 3, Trillium, also by Jeff Lemire, Unwritten Volume 1, which disappointingly that line got canceled. I love that series and wish it could get completely collected in oversized editions. And then we've got V for Vendetta as well as Y the Last Man, and that concludes this tour of the library. Now that concludes the tour of the library and all the books in it, but let's take a look around so you guys can kind of see what the library looks like and some of the decorations that I've got in here. Alright, so we'll start at the corner where I've got my shield on the wall. Those are the stairs coming upstairs You can see kind of a balcony right there as well. That's my desk where I work and stuff. I got my toolkit on there because we've been working on putting stuff away in the media room that I'll show in a second. Couch is a little messy. There's that first shelf that we looked at, and this is my reading lounge. Again, I mentioned earlier in the video, don't worry about the light. I block the light as much as I can to make sure there's no damage to the books and stuff. But yeah, this is my reading lounge area, so I can lounge in one of those chairs. I've got a little lamp over there. I've got a nice coffee table with the Wednesday Comics hardcover on it, and that couch is really nice and comfortable. And then moving over here, you can see this is one of my shelves of manga. This is my creator section of manga, and then on the other side is just some other like completed manga series. So this creates one aisle in my library. So manga right there, and then this is that wrap of like Marvel, and excuse the light adjusting because the windows and stuff. Marvel and DC stuff, and that wraps over to that other shelf that we looked at earlier. And this is that other aisle where much of this is manga and stuff like that. And just come over here so you can see, got one little Pokemon poster as a decoration, and then on the opposite wall we've got an XMen poster. And I do have expansion plan for, if I want to, I can put another shelf down here. I don't think I'll get a tall shelf because I don't want to have just an opening between shelves for the thermostat. But like a shorter shelf, kind of like the one right here. Just have that right there if I need some extra space for some stuff that's from other publishers. And then my expansion plan otherwise because obviously I need more room for Marvel or DC stuff very soon, like immediately for Marvel stuff, especially considering all the stuff I have in the closet, is that I will push the shelf here, this 5x5 Kallax, however you want to say it, I will pull that over and then make a thinner aisle. I've left a lot of room here, so there's definitely room to do that. And then I will get a second one of these shelves and I'll create another aisle here. And then I will push the carpet over and the table over. So this reading area will be a little bit more snug, but not terribly so. It'll still be pretty comfortable. I might have to move one of the chairs somewhere, but whatever, that's fine. So that will allow me one entire 5x5 Kallax shelf, both sides of that to be utilized, so 50 cubes worth of space. So plenty of space for me to expand, and then beyond that, if I need to, I could probably just take away my little lounge area and do a third shelf if I need to, but I don't see that being a thing that needs to happen in a very long time. Or I could have something running perpendicular over here if I need to. There's a lot of opportunity, and that's one of the reasons why I was excited to move my library out into this open area, into this like upstairs living room area, because it did allow me so much room for expansion. It allowed me room to grow comfortably without having everything seeming like it's falling in on top of me. And that can be fun for a little while, like having this little cave of books and nerdy stuff. But after a while, it's just a little stressful to have like things on top of things and getting in there and just feeling a little bit claustrophobic, if you will. Anyway, let's look at some more decorations, and then we can look at those action figures as well. So on this wall, opposite the staircase, this is a page of artwork from Animal Man. My wife got me, art by Raphael Albuquerque, a couple of signed Neil Adams prints, and then this is a signed Scott Pilgrim vs. the World poster. This is signed by Edgar Wright and Brandon Routh. I had met them at an event whenever I was working for a movie promo company, and there's that closet that I looked at earlier that has all those extra books that don't have space to live right now. Now, let's look at the action figures. Up at the top here is a large portion of my X-Men Marvel Legends figures. So we've got like the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. There's a Sentinel. There's a metal Wolverine statuette type of thing. We've got the Age of Apocalypse figures, and then coming around the side here, we have X-Force, Modern Team, Classic Team, New Mutants, X-Factor, and some more villains and stuff. And then wrapping around to this side, we've got the main X-Men figures, the main team, more or less progressing chronologically, going this way. A couple figures have fallen that I need to pick up. So we have like, you know, the 70s. I don't have the original 60s team. We've got the 70s and the 80s and some X Factor, the 90s blue and gold teams, and that leads into the more modern X-Men stuff. I don't have the most current lines of the X-Men figures. I haven't been able to get them just yet. And then we've got some Batman figures, most of these based on runs by Morrison. Some Power Rangers. I need to get the Black Ranger without the shield and the Yellow Ranger to complete the Mighty Morphin set. And it looks like my Ranger Slayer fell over. And then I've got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles up here. And here's a look at what has become of my old library. So like I've mentioned, this is now going to be a media room. We're not entirely done outfitting this. We're going to have the TV right there mounted onto the wall, and we'll have some speakers mounted into the ceiling as well. But I've got some of the video game stuff over here. Just a little side table where my laptop is at the moment. My little area for sitting when I play games or watch TV. We got a cheap little futon from Target. It was not much more than $100. And this won't be the permanent seating arrangement in here. This is just temporary. And then some movie posters. We just picked a few that looked good. These were all movie posters I had from when I used to work at a movie theater. So just picked those out of the lot. And then coming in here. Back there, a couple of shelves with movies, video games, and anime. And just a lot of different cool stuff there. A couple more shelves. That's a poster I've had actually since the first Pokemon movie came out. And then there's Toy Story 3, just a couple of nice colorful posters there. And we'll have one more poster hanging there. My wife picked Titanic. And we have some smaller posters that are going to go around maybe above the TV and stuff like that. So yeah, this is the current layout of my former room. This has been a really nice room. My wife and I have been chilling in here almost every day, just playing video games, watching movies, watching TV. It's just really nice to have this area here. The previous area where we would watch TV was nice. Just squeezing out of here now. But the TV was a little further away from the couch. Sound system's going to be nicer in here, and of course there's no windows, so turning off the light in here, it makes it a very nice dramatic theater type experience. We're also going to be getting custom shelves built back here. Basically, instead of having these black shelves that I have from Target, there's custom shelving that'll be housing all of our discs and stuff like that. And then we're also going to have, like, as well as new furniture fitting out the room, we'll also have some, we want to get like a popcorn maker and a little mini fridge so we can have snacks and stuff in here. So it's going to be a nice little room to chill in. So that's it. That's everything. That's my library. You get to see all the way that it's set up, where everything is, my plans for expansion, the new media room area. Very exciting. I'm very excited to finally have all this stuff together. It took such a long time, and we've still, even after moving all the books out here, if you've been following me on TikTok, you've seen that I moved this stuff out quite a while ago. But I'm still tinkering with stuff, like putting the action figures up there was done just last week, even though the books were done a couple weeks ago. So it's a work in progress. We'll see what happens as we go. But thanks so much for spending the time with me and taking a look around my library. It's a really awesome setup. This was a dream setup. Like I mentioned a little bit ago, it was cool to have it all in that one little area. But having it spread out, it looks so much nicer. It's nice and open, and it's comforting. It's comfortable to sit up here and read, and it's comforting to see everything in such a nicely organized way, because I feel like it's not just stuff being stacked on top of stuff. These books now are receiving the respect that they honestly deserve. So I hope you guys enjoyed this look at the library, and if you want to see more detailed look at my manga library, I do have a video that was uploaded from a couple months ago, I believe, so you can check that out. But if you'd like for me to do a more recent look at the manga library, please in the comments let me know, because I can always do that pretty soon and just take a quick rundown of all the stuff that I have. But you kind of see the way that the shelves are set up right now anyway. Anyway, again, thank you so much for spending time with me, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.